Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. It's my super big privilege to be able to present to you today Delinea and how we can help you to meet some of the NIS2 requirements, as this is main topic for our today webinar. So shortly, my agenda. What we think in Delinea is that actually every single identity is these days privileged identity, not just root or admin anymore. Then I want to shortly introduce to you our Delinea offering to let you know why we are talking about this kind of a solutions. And then I will be talking about NIS2 in the lights of identity management and security, and then how we in Delinea we can help you to meet those requirements. So why identities are that much important these days in the IT space? 94% of all breaches are identity related. So usually they are initiated with some stolen credentials, and then we start using those credentials just to initiate properly the attack on the environment of the customer. So it's not anymore that attacks were initiated by some misconfiguration of our firewall. Now it's much more easier. We say that hackers these days, they don't break through, they simply log in to our network. And uh, also what's important here is that typically companies are losing lots of money on the frauds these days. So roughly it is 5% of the annual revenue. So this is basically reasonably big amount of money. So ransomware, of course, is the most popular reason why we start doing some initiatives in our companies to secure our digital identities. But it's not just this. We also are facing the digital transformation in most of the companies. So our production is more and more managed and connected to the IT environments, even though we call it OT, but still the transformation happens. So if somebody will break through into our OT environment and they can stop our production, then again, we as a company providing some goods to the market and earning money on this, we can be simply affected by this and start losing the money. And Hi, I was told I have some freeze probably on my side, so let me come back. Ransomware is not the only reason why we are going into the securing the identities in our environments. Digital transformation is second one, so we have to defend our production. Cyber insurance is another one, because cyber insurances actually these days they realize that by giving us, cyber insurance, 75% of the cases where they sold the cyber insurance in 2022 was already the situation when the companies who bought the cyber insurance came back to them to pay the money back. So as you expect, cyber insurance is not developed or provided to us to give us money back. Cyber insurances, they want to make money on this as well. So what they are doing here to bring the profit back to them. So of course they raise new requirements, which one of them is very known these days, is exactly privilege access management and identity management. Another one reason is the regulatory compliances. So we'll be talking today about one of them, NIS2, but NIS2 is not the only one where you can find the requirements for the identity protection. Besides NIS2, it is also DORA, it is also PCI DSS, but today we'll mainly focus on the NIS2. And then distributed workflows. So with the distributed workflows, these days, more and more of our companies, we work in the remote mode. So we have our third-party vendors, we have our contractors, we have our own workforce working remotely. So we have to also provide them full access to the systems they use inside of our company, but the way that they can use it with the zero trust and with the full monitoring of what they can do on our system. So those are the main pillars why we are talking about security of the identities and access. Bit of a history. Back in the days where everything was on premise, we had our Active Directory where we had all of our users, both admin guys, then the business users, and we were aware of everything what's going on in our systems because we have full control of our servers. We had the control of our endpoints, of our users, so we could control all of the identities from this space. But then more and more we started to use the software as a service like a Salesforce, Office 365. So it was not anymore just sitting in Active Directory. Even more these days, we started using the infrastructure as a service. So maybe for some test beds, for some development systems, for some backup systems, for some disaster recovery, we decided to locate some of our environments into another premise which doesn't belong to us anymore. And maybe because of disaster recovery, we don't trust just one infrastructure provider. Maybe we are located in the two, like GCP, maybe Azure, AWS. So again, there are some systems which belongs or are leased by us, but we don't have full control over it. So everywhere there, we have some of the users, some of the systems which we use, but we don't own them. And we have everywhere there some users associated with it, which doesn't stay in our Active Directory. So we somehow need to control it. But on the other hand, we lost the control over these users. Then we have identity providers, which on one hand provide us some of the mechanism to manage those identities located some in the clouds, but on the other hand provide us another level of the identities which we need to start controlling. So as you see, the idea of the control of the identities as we used to do, having everything sitting in Active Directory, simply not enough these days because AD is not anymore the only place where our identities are located. So, as we said, the former way of thinking about identity management, having our own, admin guys, our own desktop laptops is not valid anymore. Because first of all, we have more and more of the identities, like we humans, so we don't have just AD account. We have also some of the accounts for us in the cloud environments, in the software as a service, like a Salesforce. But on top of this, the modern applications, they are not monolithic anymore. They are consisting of multiple microservices. We have IoT devices. We have DevOps environments. So everywhere there, what all of these they have in common? They have simply some kind of a credential which they use to communicate with each other. So we have the IoT devices communicating with some management systems. So everywhere there is some kind of identity. And for the bad actor, does not matter if the credential which he will use to initiate the attack is either human or non-human. Still, this is a good vector of attack on our company. So once he will break through using any of the identities, then he can start doing the lateral movement until he will hit some very important system with AD credentials, for example, and then we are done. So in our opinion, properly set the system to manage the identities is not just focused on the on-premise systems, not just focus on the admin guys, but should cover all of the identities across our entire environments, both on-premise and in the cloud. As well, it should be able to manage the level of the privileges, because we should be able to let our people and our systems to do their job, but we should give them only as much of the privileges as they really need to do their job, not to give them always the root account or the admin account. Because simply, when this is overprivileged, then again, if somebody will steal this credential, they can really, affect us strongly. So shortly about Delinea, we are super proud of being one of the top leaders in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. But not only this, we are also the only one who was named as a leader in all of the 5 major tests done by Gartner, Forrester, Kuppinger, Frost, and EMA. So we are super proud of it. Briefly, short introduction to the products we have to let you know what I'm talking then on the next slides according to the NIS2. So we provide both software which can be run on-premise, or we also provide software as a service. So it's up to you whether you want to do something on-premise or you want to use our environments in the cloud. We provide both. So Secret Server is the most popular product of ours. So it is like a full-featured PAM, privileged access management, doing the password storing, rotation, credential management, session management, auditing, and recording. On top of this, we have a privileged remote access, which is the tool which lets you to provide a secure remote access to your environment, but without VPN and without storing anything on the endpoint device. So super secure, and especially for the NIS2 meeting the requirements. Then Privilege Manager is the tool letting you to secure workstation, eliminating using the admin credentials because this is potentially dangerous, and let you start controlling the usage of the applications per endpoint. And then privilege control for servers, allowing you to do the zero trust policy into the servers. Talking about servers, we are talking about Windows platforms, Linuxes, any kind of a flavor of a Linux, and Unixes as well. Even we still provide the functionalities for the mainframes. So we let you minimize the privileges level for the users, and they can only upgrade their privileges when they need to do their certain job on the server, and after these privileges are going down again to the basic level. So in case somebody will steal this kind of a credential on this machine, still he will have just action to very basic level. And also what's very important here, we provide also MFA for all the Linuxes, Unixes, not only on the login level, but also on the level of the privilege elevation. So once you need to elevate your privileges to do some potentially dangerous command, system will call again for the MFA, which can be completely different MFA than the original one. We are also growing, not only by developing additional features into our systems, but we also are growing by acquiring other companies. So in 2024, we acquired 2 more companies, Automize and FastPath. And together with those 2 companies, we are now having additional functionalities like KIEM, which is cloud control for entitlements in the cloud, then ITDR, which is kind of a firewall for identities in the cloud, and then IGA, which lets you to build entire process of management of identities of the people inside of our company from the moment when you hire them till the moment when they are moving through your company until they will leave your company. So you just have a control of the privileges in all of the systems they have access to, and after they decided to leave your company, you can from one interface just block entire access for them. Because what's very often happens, we are very well prepared to let them join our company, right? Because we have a HR script, which system, on which role, that's it. But during the time when the people are changing position in our companies, very often some of the systems, they stay open for them. My personal example is very good one. In one of the companies I used to work, after I left the company, still for half a year, I had an access to my account in Salesforce. So is there anything more important to us these days than Salesforce, which is your CRM system? It's not, right? So, but it happens. It happens. That's why IGA is the great solution to solve those issues. Now, NIS2. You probably heard a lot about NIS2 in these days. So everybody's talking about what NIS2 will bring. From my perspective, what's very important is that we have two groups, essential and important companies which are under the NIS2. It's not just company itself. It is also related to the subcontractors and service providers. So if you're a company who just provides something to the company under NIS2, you have to also meet the requirements. Regarding the companies which are in one of these groups, you have, as I said, essentials and important. So essentials is energy, transport, banking, financial infrastructure, health, water, digital infrastructure, public administration, space, and then important post, waste management, manufacturing, communications, food production, distribution, and digital providers. What's also very important here that we have also fines. So if you don't meet some of the requirements, you can be fined. Now, where we, Delinea, can help you with, if we are talking about NIS2. So first, paragraph 49 is talking about password management, password rotation, limitation of the administration level access accounts. So first, we help you with the password management. So don't only we help you to store the password passively in the vault, because potentially if somebody will steal this credential or we find this credential, still can use it. So what we do, we first of all let you to discover all the credentials you can have in your entire environment, but then we start also doing the rotation of the credentials, checking checkout policies, and of course everything with the recording of a session and auditing. And then on the endpoint level, we let you to remove the standing local admin rights, because again, this is potentially dangerous. So instead of elevating the user to let him use the run as administrator procedure, which is again potentially dangerous, we just elevate the process, which is much better, more flexible process, and first of all, more secure than a standard procedure of the run as administrator. Paragraph 51 is talking about analytics. So we need to be able to build the profile of our users to understand how they run, how they behave with the systems to find the anomalies. So again, we inside of our products, we have a platform analytics, which helps you to build the analysis of the behavior of our users, integrated with other systems to just build the profile and find something what's just not typical behavior of our employee. Paragraph 54. Here we are talking mainly about ransomware and malware. So as we already said, lots of the attacks, 94% use the stolen credential. 80% starts with the compromised credential. So this is like biggest vector of the attack these days on our environment. So what we do, first of all, we help you to remove standing admin rights, both on the servers and on the endpoints. So privilege manager and privilege control for servers, those are the tools which we are providing to you. So thanks to those solutions, even if somebody will steal your credential and he will somehow access to the system, but because you don't have admin rights, you don't use admin or root accounts, they cannot do anything on the system, because for using this credential and do some privilege action, you have to elevate yourself. And for doing elevation, we provide another MFA. So that's how we help you to provide additional level of the security of your system. Then paragraph 85, talking about managing security service providers, software editors, and providing them access to our systems. So what we want to do, we want them to have an access to our system, but the way that they don't use VPN because this is potentially dangerous, and also the way that we don't install anything on their device. Because again, this device does not belong to us. So we don't have any control of the security of this device. So thanks to PRA, they have a full access to our systems with full control, with recording of entire session, with auditing of entire session, but just over the HTTP browser. So they don't need any additional tool to connect directly to our system. Everything is super secure and super flexible for also for our contractors. And then paragraph 89, paragraph 89, talking about zero trust principles and access management again. So again, here we are providing the technology like MFA everywhere. So we control you in each moment when you elevate yourself, when you start using some privilege control command. And we also provide just in time and just enough privilege approach, which means you should be able to access to some command, to have some privileges only when you need it and only for as long as you need it. So out of this time, your privileges should be on the very basic minimal level to eliminate potential misuse of your account. And then paragraph 108, 102, talking again about reporting and auditing of the sessions. So again, with the platform analytics and platform audit, we provide those functionalities. So in case you have some audit, you can check what's going on in your system really, and potentially if there is some breach, to find what was the root cause of this breach in your system. So this again very important according to NIS2. So I'm almost on time, which I'm super happy with this. So if you have any question to me, just let me know. Also, if not, radek.rafiński@delinea.com is my email. Just send me the message if you need. I'm happy to help and answer.
So fortunately or unfortunately, we have questions for you. So one of them is some external contractors have access to some critical systems. How Delinea solution can help us meet NIS2 requirements?
Yeah. So as I was saying, PRA, privileged remote access, is the tool. It not only provides you the remote access, which let you, this contractor, to access to the systems, but without VPN, because this is potentially dangerous, and also without installing anything on their device. So they just have to have a web browser, they access to the portal which we give them, and then it's synchronized with the secret server just to take the credential to access the machine or the application they need. And after this, of course, the credentials are rotated. So it is not just that they take the password from somewhere and they inject it into the session. No, it's done the way that they don't see the password at all. But of course, everything is according to the NIS2 with the recording of entire session and also then providing the audit tool.
Okay, thank you. And maybe we have time for some other question, which is personally mine. Many employees in modern enterprises use so-called shadow IT. So they select what they would like to use. Having this AI hype, all
which is even worse,
whatever they want. So the question is Delinea foreseeing some control over this shadow IT also?
Yeah, it's a beautiful question actually, because that's the truth. That what I try to show on the first slide is that very often when we think about PAM, we think admin guys, on-premise servers, our own laptops, that's it. But as you said, shadow IT, shadow admin, that's one of the biggest pain points these days, because exactly, not only some of the users, they have some privileges which are way too much for them to do their job, but also we have then AI, which you mentioned very often. We sometimes let the AI go into our environment, and then those identities, as I said again, for the bad actor, doesn't matter if you will steal the password of Radek Rafiński or if you will steal the password or some credential for the microservice 123. Still, using this, I can log into our environment and start doing some nasty things. So yes, a shadow admin is a huge problem. What we do, first of all, we do the discovery of everything you have in your environment to find those accounts, which we very often don't know that we have them in our environment, because if they don't sit in AD, we don't know, we don't control. So yes, first of all, we do the discovery across the on-premise cloud environments. Then we find those accounts which they have too much of the privileges, and at the end we take them down to the zero trust policy, so zero level of the privileges, and only when they need to, based on the policy, they can upgrade their privilege to do the certain job, and after they finish, they go back to the lowest level of the credentials, of the priorities. Yeah, but very good question, and a very big problem.
But there's already appearing solutions which address this question.
Yeah.
So, Radoslav, thank you very much for joining us for this webinar.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.